So this video is about a project that I've had a little bit of fun working on, and it's a LinkedIn bot written using Python and particularly Selenium that sends messages to recruiters, right? So I'll show you a little bit in more details what it's about, but first I'd like to cover some fundamentals and some of the tools that I've been using to create that, and that you can apply to any project that involves, web scraping or anything like that using Selenium. So I'll just go briefly over the document object model, selectors, the Selenium WebDriver that we're using, and I'll just highlight a couple of drawbacks and challenges of this program. Actually, some of the things that we use in Selenium to interact with the web interface, and it's called the document object model. It's essentially the components of a web page, to the structure of what's behind a web page, and we have a few things that help us interact with the page, and that's HTML tags, attributes, and selectors, among other things. But this is kind of what you see when you right click and inspect a web page. So this is a screenshot that I've taken, and you can see it looks a little bit daunting, but this is the the different HTML tags that you find. So essentially every feature that you have on a web page, whether it's a button or a free text field or anything like that, a hyperlink, you can identify those with different means essentially. So there's a tag selector where you can find all of the elements of a type. So this is something that you find in the HTML layout structure. Or you can find it by its attributes. So, for example, you'll find HTML tags can have an ID or a specific class, and an XPath. So any kind of HTML tag will have an XPath, unique XPath that you can also use to identify and interact with a feature of a website. And I'll show you a brief example then, but this is just a quick overview of the theory. So these are a couple of examples, practical examples, how it can look like using, again, Selenium. And you see here that you have different methods to find elements. So this is what I was talking about by tag name, class name, ID, or its XPath. I'm not covering the entirety of selectors and HTML components, but this is what I'm using in this script. So the WebDriver is essentially a sort of an instance of a web browser. It interacts directly with the browsers and perform tasks like clicking, writing, or retrieving the HTML data that we've just covered. So this is how it looks like. Sort of the first, it's an example how to log in the website LinkedIn. I'll just show you that in practice really quickly. And a couple of drawbacks and challenges of this type of scripts in general is the reliability, right? So whenever LinkedIn's going to decide to update their website, the fields that they're using or anything like that, you may be subject to crash, right? There's also security. Obviously, you can't do that with anything. LinkedIn is actually pretty soft in terms of security, but whenever you're going to have a two-factor authentication or something that, I don't know, sends you a text message on your phone number, I mean, you're dealing with much more sophisticated or complicated way to solve those problems. Same thing, I mean, a CAPTCHA virtually impossible to solve. And a last one from the point of view of scalability, since you're interacting with an actual, web page and an actual browser instance, it takes a lot of resources, and it's not super quick. It depends on factors like your internet connection, for example. And this can be the challenges that you could face. So let's try it out. First, I'll show you a little bit briefly. So these are the libraries that we're using. And here, for example, I'm going to put my credentials. So there's my email address, and there's going to be my password I'm going to write in. And I'll show you right now what it does when you when you launch it. So I've already put here essentially, I'll just show you here very quickly what it does. So I'm not clicking or anything, it's just doing, right? This is the point of this script. And so this stops here. What I've just done here is essentially to get the original URL. I'm finding the element by ID, which corresponds to the username feature, and I'm going to send keys of the variable that I've predefined above, a string variable. Same goes for the password. I'm sending the keys and submitting, right? So you'll see oftentimes the time.sleep. So this is what I was talking about with the internet connection, for example. You're going to have to wait that the page actually loads so that you can retrieve the HTML elements. So just to, again, give you a practical view of what I do here. So you're going to have a search bar here, yeah, where you can type things. I've already made the work of finding, you know, the class name corresponding to that feature. And what I can do is to run this element ID is going to find this element. You see that it worked, it went through. That's because, you know, it found the particular feature. And I can, again, send keys. This is the search feature, right? And this is what it does. So this is a very quick introduction to the capabilities of this script, and or more like the, you know, the libraries, but then what you make of it can serve a variety of purposes. So here we are on the full script, and I'm just gonna go ahead and run it. Feel free to check it out in more details. It will be in the description of this video. I won't go through every part of it, but it's essentially all the fundamentals which I talked about, and you add there some kind of rules and some kind of, you know, algorithmic process, if, else, etc. So nothing out of the extraordinary, really. But just to give a little bit more context, I'm typing here in the search bar recruiter Deutsche Bank. So I have a list of companies, and I'm taking from each search result, for the sake of the experiment, 3 results, the first 3 results, which are going to be recruiters. And I essentially write a message and try, you know, send a connection request. So it is dynamic. I'm getting information about the recruiters, like their first name, and I'm putting it into the message. So let's see now. Should go on to the next company. It's gonna be JP Morgan. I select the Peoples tab on the upper left corner. I select the United States location. All the time using exactly the same fundamentals that I talked about with HTML tags and selectors. Just gonna make it run for a minute, and then I guess you'll get the idea. So just a quick note, by the way, a pretty important one. I am not actually sending the message. I don't have LinkedIn Premium, and it would be a problem because you can't send a limited message like that. But you know, if I were, like, I haven't actually used the script. This is just some sort of prototype. But if you're actually looking at, you know, doing something similar, you'll need the premium subscription. So you can do anything in the meantime. So that's also one pretty good thing. I can go on and check other things, and the body's still going there in the background. And yeah. So the message is pretty simple. I'm looking for a full-time opportunity and thought you might be interested in my candidacy. I can share my CV or something like that, pretty generic. And yeah, I think you'll get the idea. So I'm gonna cut it here, but that's all. I hope that you liked the video, and that's it from me.